What I've learned after 12 years on YouTube. I'm Chris, this is Yellow Productions. I do travel guides that are fun, informative, and entertaining. This video, it's a live stream, and you know what's special about today is, in addition to having been on YouTube for 12 years since 2008, today is also the day that I crossed 200,000 subscribers. Yes, let the record show. 11:30 a.m. on September 22nd, 2020. The 200,000 subscriber. Click that subscribe button, Yellow Productions, which is super amazing. So you can consider this video the first part of my 200,000 subscriber celebration, and the second part will be coming later this week on Thursday evening. But in this video, what I'm going to be sharing with you is my story over the past 12 years, what I've learned. And when I started YouTube in 2008, I had no idea I'd reach this level of viewership. What mistakes did I make? What did I accidentally do well? What would I do again? Is it skill? Is it luck? Maybe a little bit of both. If you're on the live stream, I look forward to hanging out with you, hearing your thoughts. If you're watching the archive, well, make sure you click the bell, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss these other great live streams where I always give away a Yellow Productions crew shirt. And this blue monitor should not be on to distract you there, but our fireplace, of course, should always be on. And so the first thing that I learned is I learned to travel like a YouTuber. And what does that mean? Well, actually, early on in kind of my YouTubing experience, I sort of had like a YouTube coach maybe 4 years ago, and he said, Chris, maybe I had like, I don't know, 7,000 subscribers. He says, Chris, if you want to do well on YouTube, especially on travel videos, you need to learn to travel like a YouTuber. And before that, I was really, I would call it somebody who traveled and uploaded videos to YouTube. I would not have considered myself a YouTuber. And then I decided to get serious about YouTube. And what does getting serious mean? Well, we'll talk a little bit more about quality and consistent content and regular uploads as we get to number 3. But also, when we travel now, it's not, oh, let's go places and then I'll just film them as we go. Now, when we go places, we plan out our destinations based on what we want to shoot. Like making videos definitely drives the places we go see, the things that we eat. And so I'll do research on YouTube before a trip because I like to do research as I go places in general on YouTube, but I also look, you know, what topics in a destination already do well, what topics aren't covered. I prefer to do topics that aren't covered rather than like the, you know, things to do in Tokyo video that 8,000 people have already done. That's not to say that I won't ever do a things to do in Tokyo video, but I always like to take kind of a unique perspective on it. And, you know, the amount of research that we do when we go someplace as YouTubers has now increased like 20-fold, like 20x more research to be able to also get a good talk track and be able to say intelligent things about places, right? Take some extra research as opposed to getting someplace and saying, here is a really old statue. Of what? I'm not sure. That's not to say that I've never said those things in some of my other videos. I have indeed before in the past. And then often when we're traveling like a YouTuber and also trying to enjoy our destinations, we'll typically walk through a destination or experience it first to enjoy it, take it in, and then a second time to actually shoot it, because then we'll have an idea what it is that we are shooting. Lots of people responding and say, yay, 200K. Thank you. I appreciate the congratulations. George also as well. There's many of you, so I won't put all of them up on the screen, but I want to let you know I appreciate your congratulations from the deepest of my heart. And Justin won a Yellow Productions crew shirt. He said it's so lucky that he won $150 playing poker in it. That's impressive. So maybe you can win a Yellow Productions shirt and win something. Kathy says, I need you to do 10 things in Tokyo. The good news is I've actually started a little bit of that video when we were last there, so maybe I will have a unique angle on it. And so In the 200,000 subscriber celebration that I'm going to do on Thursday evening, we're going to dive deep into like old footage, milestones, things like that. But I do want to show what it means to like not travel like a YouTuber. Our first video that we uploaded to YouTube is actually not the oldest video on YouTube. The oldest video I have on my channel is from Norway, but we went to Scandinavia in general on that trip. We went to Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, and the first video uploaded was to Sweden, though I deleted it and re-uploaded it later. So I want to show you 15 seconds of this video just to show you the first Yellow Productions video and maybe how far I've come since 2008. It's what the half of the thumbnail of this video was that you saw. Greetings from Sweden. We are in Stockholm, and today we're bringing you the Chris and
Toffe.
show. And together we make Chris.
Toffe.
Here we go. Let's go see the sights. Topher's going to lead us there.
Let's go. So where are we going next?
Well, there you go. You know, you've got to start someplace, and that's where it all started. That was, of course, the original Topher, but, you know, the crew's definitely expanded since then. All right, so now let me share with you the second thing I've learned since 2008, or the past 12 years on YouTube, is I've also learned about how to have a YouTube life balance. You know, many people get started on YouTube, they go all in, and they burn themselves out. I talk to so many people that talk to me about being a creator, that they're up till midnight editing videos. I've got to get this video out tomorrow, otherwise the world's going to end. And I'll just tell you that's no way to live. And so, you know, people who like do daily vlogs, I admire those people because daily vlogging is really hard. And so it's really important to say, you know, how much video can I put out realistically when I go on travel? How can I still enjoy the travel and not do so much video that we're not enjoying it anymore? In that case, we'll have days that we don't shoot at all. Definitely, usually the day in, the day out, there's no video at all. And so at some restaurants, I just don't shoot anything either. And you know, on weekends, I'm not editing video the whole time. I'm spending a lot of my time editing video, but I generally kind of like to shoot something, edit it, and then spend a couple days to not do any YouTube and just relax. Also, to lower my stress, I've often got lots of videos edited and queued up. I've probably got uploaded to YouTube right now 8 weeks of video to put out for y'all, which means, and it won't all come out in the next 8 weeks. Some of it's actually from our trip in February, but it helps me to know that if I don't edit something this week, I have a decent backlog of stuff that helps me not stress out over doing this. Also, you know, at the beginning of this pandemic, I was doing almost daily live streams, and that began just to eat at the edges of me in terms of just preparing content for them and all that sort of stuff, which is why I've back down to the regular weekly thing, because it's something that I can actually sustain trying to create the content and also not pass out. And Justin says, I am a parent now. That makes it harder for sure, and that takes away a lot of our free time. B. Tigla says, I finally made it to the live. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the live stream. Amy says, I believe the average is 1 video a week, sometimes 2 times a week. It really depends on the channel. I would say, you know, if there's a recommendation, and actually I'll just go to number 3 now, which is number 3 lesson I've learned is quality and consistent content. One of the most important things to building a YouTube channel is having quality, consistent content that people can come back to on a regular basis and say, hey, there's going to be something new from this channel, and when I get there, it's going to be quality. But I also think it's important to not spend forever on each video, and also not to burn out by doing it, which we talked about in the work-life balance. What I mean about not spending forever on each video, you know, no video that I put out is ever perfect. There's like tons of edges that I could fix, an audio transition here, this here. I could make the color a little bit better. I could do that, but at some point it just becomes the point of diminishing returns, and I'd rather get the video out there and then focus on the next one. Now, I heard an interesting study, and I'm probably going to quote the numbers wrong, but they're orders of magnitude, roughly saying that channels that have like 1 million subscribers typically have uploaded about 5,000 videos to their channel, something on that order, 3,000, 5,000. But to say that to get to that level, it's channels that have uploaded a lot because over the time they've learned what it takes to actually make a good video. And Travel Adventures with Eric B says, I find more than twice a week on downloads is a lot of work. Yeah, more than twice a week is hard. And if you're doing daily vlogs, and some of you might have heard me talk about this before, my experience in Korea when we went there, and I tried to do daily vlogs, and I did them for about 2 days before I gave up on that on travel. That was just too hard. There was no YouTube life balance at all at that point. Chris says, hello, Chris. Thanks for the great content, especially the videos on Japan, where I plan to visit next year. Chris, thank you for the kind words, and I hope you enjoy your trip to Japan. And also for the kind words on our daughter. Thank you. Kathy says, 2 videos a week is just enough. You need to have balance. Well, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. And Traveling the World says, I had tiny errors on my latest videos you watched. I didn't fix them because they're tiny and they don't affect the video, for sure. And Amy says, quality over quantity. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Anthony says, do you use any apps to map out locations, perhaps to see what places are close to each other and to save time? Google Maps. Google Maps is the app that I use for pretty much all of the mapping stuff that I do. I will say that using Google Maps, what I do like to do is I use all the features in the app to put hearts and flags and stars, and I use those all as different things in a destination. And so I will flag and star a bunch of different places in destination. Some are like, if it's a star, they're the ones that we definitely want to go to. If it's a flag, it's an attraction that we want to go to, maybe. And if it's a heart, it's a restaurant we want to go to, maybe, if we're close by. So we go to the stars, and then we're like, we're hungry. Are we next to any flags that we want to eat at? So that's how we use the things on Google Maps. Big Italian Meatballs says, hey, Chris, was a fan of your most recent food review. Would love to see more. Thank you, Big Italian Meatballs. I appreciate that. My most recent video, if you didn't catch it, was the video on al pastor tacos. That was a fun one to make and also a tasty one. So thank you for that. Maybe we'll do more of those in the future. Alex says, I know how the editing goes. I know photo editing is different, but I understand the tedious amount of work that goes into editing. It takes me 10 to 15 minutes to edit just one photo, for sure. And actually, making the thumbnail is something that takes a lot of time, and we will talk about thumbnails as well coming up in one of the future numbers. Okay. So, and Susie says 200,000 was that amazing? I'm amazed, frankly. And at the beginning, I never would have, like, I did not set out on YouTube to be a YouTuber. And when we talk about milestones in the full 200,000 subscriber celebration, the point that we really decided, Osigirl and I, to say we are YouTubers now was our trip to Korea. Because when we got to Korea, everything was about YouTubers, and everybody called us YouTubers, and it was a YouTuber group, and so that's when we put on the hat, not just as people who upload to YouTube, but actually to be YouTubers. The thing I still don't say I am, and I never will say I am, there's the term of art in this industry to talk about influencers and influencer marketing. I just don't like that term. Okay, number 4. The fourth thing I've learned after being on YouTube for 12 years is to improve a little bit with each video. Starting with that first video that you saw from Sweden.
Kiss.
We're going to the Vasa ship.
The Vasa ship.
We've probably improved a little bit on each video since that one. And even on the live streams, I try to do something a little bit different so each video is a little bit better, whether it's better audio, whether it's better lighting, whether it's adding a subscriber count, whether it's a better camera, whether it's better editing, whether it's this and that. And so, eventually I want these videos to not just look like videos recorded with somebody's cell phone posted to YouTube, but maybe like a poorly produced TV show, right? That would be pretty cool. Travel Adventures with Eric B says, I always feel like I need to download more content, but definitely quality is more important. Your quality is great. Thanks, Eric B. I appreciate it. Logan wants to know which travel credit card I use. My favorite is the Chase Sapphire Reserve card. Mars asks if I've thought about going to any of the Knott's food festivals. I went to Taste of Knott's and it was great. I've thought about it. It's like at the top of my head, though it actually hasn't. I haven't gotten off the dime to actually go there. Amy says not everyone can be a YouTuber. It takes patience, hard work, and talent. It sure does, which brings us to number 5, which is I have learned that YouTube is a long road, and frankly, there is no easy button. I think many people burn out in the beginning, and as I said, improving a little bit over every video. If I would have bought like all this gear at the beginning, I would have had no idea what to do with it or how to make it work or how to put it all into something. And so, there are always stories about people who become YouTube stars overnight, but frankly, most people that have a few 100,000 subscribers on YouTube have been doing it for a pretty long time, consistently making content. And you even look at Mr. Beast or PewDiePie, like some of the most subscribed YouTubers on the platform. You look back at their first videos, and they're often with their GoPro in their bedroom. Not quality stuff. Wutai asks if I have a long public speaking background before all of this. That is a great question, and there's probably an answer of yes, but the answer that I want to give you before I give you yes is actually public speaking. When I was in college, I was so deathly afraid of public speaking that I would drop my college classes if I found out that there was an oral presentation requirement of it. I deathly hated speaking in front of groups. No joke. And then eventually a computer science major, a requirement of where I graduated, San Diego State University, everybody who graduates from there has to take a public speaking class. I took that public speaking class, and honestly, it changed my life and my perspective towards public speaking. After that class, I knew I could get up in front of a room and speak, and I would not die afterwards. Nobody would hit me with pitchforks. And in my day job, I'm kind of the talking head of our organization, and so I do spend a lot of time presenting to PowerPoint slides. So if you ever look at earlier videos and think, gosh, it really seems like Chris is giving us a PowerPoint presentation, that's probably because that's what my speaking background was in, and then adapting it to YouTube was trying to take that presentation PowerPoint mode and turn it into a much more conversational approach, just like I'm talking to you in my living room with the fireplace right here. Big Italian Meatballs had to do the same thing for his computer science degree. It's probably good. I think it's a good thing for all of us. And Brian says we're all going to Dana Point because of you. Right on, Brian. I am in process of editing a full Dana Point travel guide so that you can, in addition to just eat tasty Mexican food, know all the things to do when you get to Dana Point. Traveling the World wants to know what's the good average price of good camera equipment. I'll answer this in 2 ways. The cameras that I generally take when I travel are Sony 4K camcorders. It's if you expand the description of this video, it has the exact model number. It's about $1,000 camera. Microphone's a couple $100. You need the SD cards. So I would say that the gear that I typically travel with is about $2,000. The gear that I live stream with costs a lot more, just because live streaming and lights, and you end up with a lot more things, and it doesn't have to be small because I don't have to travel with it. And so I also wanted to get good quality things when I do things that don't move. When I live stream, the camera that's here basically doesn't move. It's fixed on a tripod. It never leaves this room. It's set up to the microphones and all those things. Justin says, you didn't want to take public speaking in college. I got a B in that course, would have gotten an A, but I kept going overtime. I did not want to take public speaking in college for sure. Scottman says, for some reason, my IT major did not require public speaking class. However, I took one as elective to stay a full-time student just before graduation. I guess some people see it as an easy A. For me, it was not. Okay. Let's go on to number 6. The sixth thing I've learned after being on YouTube for 12 years is to make content that I enjoy making, because if I don't enjoy making it, I won't want to do it. But also, I'm not making content for me. I'm making content for you. I'm making content that people actually want to watch, and I'm making content not that are like family vlogs, which were some of the original videos we made, like, hey, there's, blah, 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 this is what we did. But trying to make much more informational videos, because that's what I found out that people were really interested in, at least for me. Certainly other channels, people are interested in the drone flops, drone shots, backflips, those sorts of things. So the other thing that I think is kind of misrepresented on YouTube, seventh thing I learned, is that a lot of times, you'll listen to the things that talk about like how to get ahead on YouTube, and it says, YouTube is the world's second biggest search engines, Google's the first, and so the way you're going to get ahead on YouTube is by, keywords and tags and optimizing your keywords and beating the algorithm. I think the most important thing is not trying to make videos for robots in the algorithm, but to make videos that people want to watch. And I think if people want to watch them, then YouTube will find a place to get it to those people to watch it. A lot of times you'll hear people say that you can tell how a video is going to do based on its first 48 hours. And it's true to some extent, like particularly for y'all as people who watch my live streams, people who subscribe to my videos. If you all find a video and you click on it and you watch it and you share it a lot in the first 24 hours, then YouTube is like, oh, this is popular. Let me show it to more people that aren't Chris's subscribers. Now, sometimes I've had videos like my New York City Things to Know video that just didn't do well at the beginning. Like, it got less than my average amount of views in the first 2 months. And then at some point, YouTube goes, oh, I think I found the right people for this video. And that video went on to be one of my most watched videos, with half 500,000 views, something like that. Duncan Dan says, drone shots and loud trance music are so overblown. But they're popular, that's for sure. And just joining us is that one Slav, I am well, thank you. Dinky Dink says, Drinky says, you seem to take feedback from viewers very well. That probably contributed to success. Thank you. I appreciate it. I consider good feedback to be a gift. If people are actually saying like, hey, Chris, here's a suggestion. Here, how you could do it better. I've also learned that trolls really suck, and we'll talk about that in one of the other numbers. Scottman895 Travel says, I heard about that too, related to the videos in the first 48 hours. 24, 48 hours, at the beginning of the video. Tori asks if I outline or storyboard videos before you edit. Outline for sure. And even these live streams, I have an outline of my live stream. I'm not editing it here, but these are my talking points. So when you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my outline. When you see me looking here, it's because I'm looking at the chat. When you see me looking over here, I am looking at the computer that has all the YouTube statistics about the live stream. Make sure it's all good, that sort of stuff. But the storyboard, I don't really storyboard it, because like the outline, I start with that to say, what am I going to shoot? Where are we going to go? So I've generally got an idea of what the finished video is going to look like before I've actually shot any of it. I've found that really to help when I'm actually then coming back to edit it. That one Slav says, I subscribed off the Santa Cruz video. I enjoyed it. Right on. Michael says, I was Chris back in the day. Tell you what, let's watch 15 more seconds of Chris back in the day from Sweden while I get the drink that I'm drinking, because I put it on the counter over there.
Yes, the Vasa ship.
The Vasa ship? What's that?
The Vasa was a warship built by King Gustavus Adolphus in 1626. It was intended to be Sweden's grandest warship of all time, but instead turned out to be Sweden's grandest failure. 20 minutes into the Vasa's maiden voyage, it sank to the bottom of the Baltic Sea, thus becoming Gustavus Adolphus' Royal Submarine. The Vasa...
Okay, there we go. What is Chris drinking today? Now that I've got my drink, Chris is drinking a mango smoothie from the alley. Some of you have heard me say this is one of my favorite drink shops from Taiwan, and they kind of separate these things. It's best if you kind of shake it up a little bit. You get everything to mix in this, and of course, you know, it comes with a big straw so that you can poke that straw through here. You can shake it because it's entirely sealed. And get that mango goodness right there. Kathy says, you have a great voice for voiceover. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate it. Sometimes people watch my videos and say, Chris, that's such a fake radio voice that you have. And I'm actually like, this is actually my voice. This is my voice. This is how I talk. And then, like, people meet me in person when they see me around, and they're like, Chris, I didn't believe it. I watched your videos, but in real life, you actually talk like that. I'm like, I actually talk like that. Steve-O asks if I use assistants in my filming. Let's see. OC Girl, my wife. Sometimes my mom has come along to help film. Sometimes my dad has come along to help. But that's it. That's the list. I've never paid or hired assistants in my filming. Larry says, what is the best beach in San Diego? The best beach in San Diego depends what you're looking for, but I actually have a whole video about the best beaches in San Diego. If you search for Yellow Productions Best Beaches in San Diego, then you can see that. But depends what you're looking for. The beach I go to in San Diego the most is Mission Beach. And Joyce says, the quality of the Vegas videos pushed me to subscribe. Thanks for that feedback, Joyce. I appreciate it. The Las Vegas series, I know, is one that a lot of people love. And that's one where I've tried to really, like, say 23 Cheap Eats in Vegas as something that, like, it takes me, like, almost a week to film that video of all the different spots. Trying to do something that people typically don't do, looking at a different angle, you know, maybe something that's not as easy as others. Joseph asks, what are the costs involved in a typical day of shooting? It depends when and where. I mean, obviously, as a travel channel, there's the travel cost if you've got to go someplace. There's the gear investment. Since I don't pay assistants and I don't pay people to travel around with me, there's not a lot of big per day cost other than going to a destination, paying for the hotel to get there. Yeah, Kathy says we can hear that traveling princess in the background. For sure, OC Girl is minding to our traveling princess, and we've set up some chairs between our living room and this room so that she can't get here, and I don't think she likes that very much right now. Okay, let's go to number 8. The 8th thing I've learned after 12 years on YouTube is I've also learned that in addition to making videos that people want to watch, it's also a lot about the click and the click-through rate. So what does that mean? You know, if I produce the best video, if this is the best live stream ever, but nobody clicks on it to watch it, then nobody's going to watch it because YouTube won't know it's good because nobody clicked on it. And so the title and the thumbnail are just as important as the actual content in the video because people have to click into it. That's something that often people hate about YouTube. They're like, why is it that it's all about titles and thumbnails? It's not all about titles and thumbnails, but it is about one that somebody will click on it and look at it. The next thing it's about too is it, YouTube, last year rolled out the new feature that you see the preview of the video when you hover over it. So it's also about the first few seconds of the video being interesting so that when people click into it, they don't click off right away. Or when they hover over it to decide to click on it, they can see that what they're going to see, right, is not clickbait. It's actually what they think they were going to click into. So I spend a fair amount of time editing my thumbnails. That was something that really I learned as a YouTuber. So pro tip for any new YouTubers out there, before you film one shot of footage, before you shoot a single frame, have a title in mind. I have a title in mind before I shoot my video. Like sometimes Osigro will say like, hey, we should do a video about XYZ. And I'm like, that's a cool topic. Let's work on the title. Because the title's going to drive everything. And so like we're planning to make a video about like, we have been spending a lot of time picnicking because of the pandemic. But when we picnic, we don't get like wine and cheese. We get restaurant takeout and we have a picnic. And so we're like, oh, we're going to make a video about how to give tips about restaurant takeout for picnicking. But it's like, oh, but what does that look like in a title? And what's the thumbnail going to look like? You know, and so like pandemic picnic tips, picnicking in the age of the coronavirus, picnicking with restaurant takeout in the age of the coronavirus. All variations on the theme, and like thumbnail, what would be good? Well, like a picnic basket, but we should put restaurant takeout in the picnic basket. You know, and like when the video starts, I need to be someplace where it seems like I'm picnicking, and it seems like I have restaurant takeout, whatever that is. You know, if the video started and you saw me eating inside a restaurant, you'd be like, this is not the video that I came to see. So we spend a lot of time making the thumbnail and having an idea also of what that thumbnail is going to be. So when we travel and making a travel video, like when we went to Fukushima, I already knew, I'm like, my 10 things to know Fukushima video, it's going to be in front of the castle in Fukushima. And like, I just knew that. And so we had to go to that destination so that I could get a shot of Fukushima Castle in the background. Eric B asks, what do I use to make my thumbnails? I use Photoshop to edit the thumbnails. I have a template that has like the fonts that we use and all that stuff. Maybe that might actually be a video of its own where I can like walk you through how I make my thumbnail. So I'll think about that. David M says, hey, everybody who's watching this, please give this video a thumbs up. That's another way that you can help the YouTube algorithm know that this is good so that more people can see it. I'm not saying you shouldn't pay attention to the algorithm, so please give this a thumbs up so YouTube knows that you're liking it, so that then YouTube can share it with more people that might like it as well. Drinky Drinky says, more food reviews. Was it difficult filming your most recent review? Did the restaurants have any issues with you filming? You know, so the funny story behind filming that recent video at Lupe's is, so I was there, and if you watch that video, you'll know they had some outdoor seating. So I ordered some tacos, and I sat outside, and I was filming my tacos that I ordered outside. And the manager of Lupe's comes over and he asked me, he says, hey, is everything going good? What are you doing? What are you using this video for? And I said, I'm going to make a travel guide on Dana Point. And I love Lupe's, and so I was going to include this video in it. And he's like, hey, that's awesome. Would you like to come inside? Maybe the lighting's better in here. We could also like put it on plates so maybe it looks a little bit better. And so actually it was like a fortuitous opportunity that I had not intended, actually, when I set out to make that video. I had not intended to make an entire video on Lupe's. I had set out to make a video about Dana Point that I include a minute about Lupe's. And so the manager was super cool. And actually, when he said, like, hey, can I show you some stuff? I was like, hey, that's cool. But, I'd also, can I see how you make the tortillas? Can I see how you slice the al pastor? And he's like, yeah, do you want to just shoot it from over there? I'm like, can I shoot it from like right behind the guy who's making it? And they were like, totally cool, because that's what makes a cool channel. And so honestly, like, I love places that embrace YouTube in that way. There are places that we've been to, don't get me wrong, that are like, see the camera and they're like, no filming, you can't film. We were at a hotel in Korea. I was filming the breakfast buffet. I shoot the video, and then at some point I put the camera away because we're done and I'm eating. And the manager, I guess, of the breakfast restaurant or something comes over, and he's, because I guess some of the staff must have told him I was shooting video, and he's like, so were you filming video earlier? And I'm like, yeah, I was just, shooting some of the food on the buffet. Oh. Okay, we actually don't allow video, here in the restaurant. So if you could not do that, we'd appreciate it. I'm like, okay, well, I already got the video that I need. I didn't quite say that. I already got the video of the buffet that I need. You know, I get maybe in Korea they're worried about like K-pop and just too many people filming people or something like that and wanting to make it private. But like that sort of perspective is just it's all gooned up. Utai wants to know if I can put charity on videos. What kind of charity on videos? I'm not sure what you mean, Utai. Scottman885 says, I was wondering about the Lupe's videos. It resembled some of your Fukushima videos a little bit where you talk with the owner first about filming it. It sure did, and that's why I was able to do that, which was pretty neat. All in My World says, after your horse sashimi video, what about foods that you didn't like or more strange foods? Okay, that sounds interesting. I will add that to my idea list. That one, Slav wants to know if I've been to Russia. I have never been to Russia, but I guess I have a Slavic background. I am half Czech. So there we go. Time for a kiss. Do you sometimes want to stop doing YouTube and do something else with your time? You know, sure, there are certainly times when I might say I might not want to edit a video right now. I might not feel like filming a video right now. I maybe don't want to make one this weekend. And so in that case, I don't edit then. I don't shoot video every weekend all the time. Even on travel, I'll be like, I'm just not feeling it today. And so I'm just not going to shoot anything today because I want the videos that I produce to genuinely seem like I wanted to be in them. There has never been a time that I've wanted to say, you know what, I'll just flush it all. Flush it all. I'm done with this game. No, actually, like I say, I've never gotten to that place, and frankly, the fact that you all watch and you all leave such positive feedback, and that my videos help you plan your travels, I think is super fantastic, and I appreciate it, and that helps keep me going. Okay. The ninth thing I've learned after 12 years on YouTube is that in addition to the title and the click-through rate and having a good video, it's also about watch time. YouTube has this statistic called watch time where YouTube tracks how many minutes people watch your video, and they track like what percentage people made it through and what percentage of people made it all the way to the end. And some of the most important things on YouTube is getting people to watch all the way to the end. And then once they watch all the way to the end, to watch another video, to like click on one of those videos that the card shows and watch another video, because that tells YouTube, oh, this person liked this video so much that they wanted to watch another video from this creator. And so that was something I started doing maybe 5 years ago, was creating a lot more series of videos, and you will actually hear me talk about that they're part of a series, because I could make a bunch of Las Vegas videos, but if you didn't know I had more, like if you watch one and you didn't know I had more, you might not bother to look for me having more. You just might watch the one and be like, oh, that guy made an interesting Vegas video. Okay, on to the next one. But in the beginning, if I say, hey, today I'm going to be talking about my 23 best cheap eats on the Las Vegas Strip, and this video, it's part of my series on Las Vegas. If you want to see more about Las Vegas, please dive into the series. Then it gets people to go, oh, I like this one. I'm going to that destination. There might be other things to watch. So to be able to kind of create so that when somebody's going to a destination, there's not just one video, but there's 10 videos or 20 videos around that destination, depending upon what angles they like. Electric Rick asks if I ever use my sneaky cam while shooting videos. I wouldn't say I ever use a hidden camera or things like that, but certainly there are places where I do not want to be conspicuous. I don't know, my theory goes, if nobody tells me not to film, I can film. And so that means, if I film for 20 or 30 seconds, nobody's around to notice, then it's probably all good, right? By the time, security guards are like, man, you're really annoying. You're blocking people, this and that. You need to stop filming. So there's a lot of places where we think about how we do that, how we shoot, kind of how we move. That one, Slav says, what's one tip you would give to a YouTuber wanting to become an upcoming travel tips YouTuber? I think I have a lot of tips in this video, but I'm gonna make number 10 the one tip that I would give to that person, which is, especially if you're starting out, is to don't be crushed if that one video doesn't do well. I've made videos and spent a lot of time and energy on videos that I thought were going to be great. It's going to get a lot of views. People are going to love it. This one's a lot of fun, and people hate it. So I think that those are things like you have to take in stride and just be like, yeah, I thought that was good, but I guess that wasn't. But that goes to like improving a little bit and experimenting a little bit, and you can't take too much negativity. You can't take the troll comment. You just have to keep on moving and say, okay, I'll try it again. But just because one thing didn't work doesn't mean it won't work again later or it won't work again differently. So sometimes if you think it's a good idea, it's worthwhile experimenting it a few different times. Traveling the World says, I have a filler videos playlist, which is for me when I am not traveling to keep my channel boosted. Okay, I guess you mean those are videos that you make when you're not traveling. Yeah, I think that was certainly something else I've learned, how to make videos not traveling, which is why I do these live streams, but we'll talk about that in another number. Number 11, the 11th thing that I've learned being on YouTube for 12 years is to plan out videos beforehand. You heard me talk about this a little bit in the notion of writing scripts and outlines, but when we first started traveling and making videos, we would travel, I would shoot videos, I would shoot all this video, and I'd come back to my editing system, and I'd be like, what the heck am I going to do with all this video? How do I put all this video together? I would spend tons of time voicing over the video afterwards to say, I got to add this to it because what I said doesn't make sense. And so now, like, I plan out the video beforehand. I'm like, this is the outline, these are the places we're going to go, and roughly these are the things I'm going to go, and so I know what order they're going to be in, so then when I go back to edit it later, I'm like, I know I got these shots go into this video, these shots go into this video, and it makes the editing so much faster. Also related to notes, the 12th thing I've learned is to keep all my scripts and notes in Google Docs. I used to maybe make some notes or whatever. At the end of the video, I don't know where they'd go. I'd chuck them or whatever. I'd handwrite them. Now I type them all out and I keep them in Google Docs because a lot of times I go back to those things. I'm like, what did I say in that video? I'm going to make a different video on that topic, or where was that? And I put them in Google Docs so that I can get to them anywhere. I can write them at home. I can add more to them when I get a great idea. I can access them when I'm traveling because I can use them on my phone. Though when I am actually shooting video, I do print it out and I keep it in my back pocket or in my travel bag so that I can kind of review about what I wanted to say before I shoot something. Martha asks if I've thought about becoming a full-time travel blogger. I think I would. 200,000 subscribers, super successful. For me, definitely would take more on my journey to get to that point. And actually earning money on YouTube is not as easy as many people think it is. And so I made a whole video about why it's hard to make money as a travel YouTuber, that you can hear my thoughts on how hard it is to become a full-time travel vlogger. A lot of the ones that you see that are full-time travel vloggers, they'll say live a decently comfortable life, are in the 1+ million subscriber category. That one Slav said, would you ever consider making a channel for longer videos, giving a full on your trip? I don't think it needs to be another channel. They might be on this channel too, just could be a different thing that I think about producing. JJ asks, why no super chat? I just didn't want to create like a big stratification on the chat. I don't know. I find that live streams that I'm on, that people enable super chats, like it creates a couple classes of people on the live stream where the YouTuber answers the super chats but not the other chats, and I didn't want to make people feel like they have to pay to get my time. When I made my video about how to earn money on YouTube, a lot of people ask me, Chris, why have you not created a Patreon account? I will say since then, enough people have convinced me to create a Patreon account because there have been enough people that have said, Chris, how can can I support Yellow Productions? And I don't want to buy a shirt, and I can't leave you super chat. How can I do it? So if you did want to support Yellow Productions, and every little bit of support does help, the Patreon link is in the description below. But by no means do you have to, and by no means will I take different chats only because people are members or they've sent a super chat. All my world wants to know, other than this YouTube channel, have you done hosting gigs? Your voice reminds me of like a TV voice. I've been on a few Japanese television shows. I've also appeared on a couple of news television programs. If you tune into the 200,000 subscriber celebration on Thursday, I'll have some of those Japanese shows queued up for you to see. And Zachary says he hears the little explorer. Tell her hi for all of us. I will do that. Thank you, Zachary. The 13th thing to know. Not to know. My videos are things to know. Things to know. Things I've learned too. The 13th thing I've learned after being on YouTube for 12 years is to keep track of B-roll. What's B-roll? B-roll is like the scenic shots that you do places. A-roll is like the talking head or something like that. And so I've learned that like any like scenic shots that I do of some place, a street, a mountain that doesn't have me talking, that's just kind of like scenery, that stuff's really useful later. So I do a much better job of categorizing that and storing it so I can go back. If I want like a Hawaii beach scene, I know I can get that Hawaii beach scene so I don't have to go back and shoot that again. MP says, I get so miffed when YouTubers only answer questions if you pay them. Ugh. Thank you, MP. I appreciate that. I never intend to get to that place. And MP, thank you mentioning the Patreon page in the chat earlier. I appreciate it. And I continue to appreciate people's congratulations on 200,000 subscribers. The 14th thing I've learned after being on YouTube for 12 years is how important it is to have a defined production and editing flow. As I said before, when I started shooting videos, I'd shoot videos, I'd get home, I'd put them in my editor, I would do stuff with them. Now I have a really defined flow about, when I'm on travel every day, the videos from the card go onto my MacBook Pro. They also get backed up on another hard drive. When I get back home, I load all the videos onto my hard drive. I open up my video editor. I watch all the clips. I organize all the clips into different things. I import all my graphics, my titles at the beginning. Topher, when he comes in and says, please subscribe. And so when I can sit down to edit, I sit down to edit. I'm productive when I edit, and I'm not spending a lot of time trying to figure something out, or this here, this knob there, what's that do, so that I can actually crank a video out. I'm going to do a whole video about my editing workflow because that's something that people have asked for. Larry wants to know if I'm ignoring his question. There are too many questions, so I didn't see yours. I'm not ignoring it. Ask it again, Larry. Chris says, I come to your channel for the information, not the B-roll. Your videos are packed with great info. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. And I'm not the over B-roll guy, but sometimes it's useful to say, like, oh, I love this beach, and then have a scene of that beach, right? So, but on this note of editing workflow, I've had people tell me, Chris, you can never have too much B-roll. And I'm like, you absolutely can have too much B-roll. Too much B-roll means it takes way too long to edit the video, and so there is a level between editing video and not. MP wants to know, what does GOAT mean? Greatest of all time. That's what that acronym means. Duncan Dan wants to know how many terabytes of video I've backed up, or do you purge? I keep all my video. 30 terabytes, something like that. 40 terabytes. I've got a lot. So, yeah. Okay. The 15th thing I've learned is also that backups are key. I talked about that. So I back them up on multiple external hard drives. I also back them up in the Google Drive in the cloud so that they're backed up there. I back them up daily now when I travel. Because as those of you who watch my channel a lot know, when I got Topher stolen in London, my camera was also in that bag. I had not backed my videos up daily, and so I lost the first few days of footage from our UK trip, which was pretty lame. So I back them up every day now, so that doesn't happen. The 16th thing I've learned is that for at-home shots, I've learned the value of having all of my equipment set up and in one place. so that when I want to shoot, all I have to do, sit down, turn it on, turn on the camera, turn on the lights. I got a good background, I got a good setup, and I can shoot. If I've got to like plug everything in and take things out of boxes, it's just too much time. I spend all my time setting up, and I never actually do anything. So, an example of this is like my, and like maybe how long it takes to edit like a sit-at-home talking head video. My video that I did last week about Hawaii's opening, from the time when people said like, Chris, you're really fast on this. I hadn't even heard this on the news. Well, I read the news, and I spent an hour researching the topic, understanding like all the details around Hawaii's new quarantine-free travel program. Then I spent an hour shooting the video. I spent an hour editing the video, and then I spent 2 hours uploading the video to YouTube, making the thumbnail, making the description, and then making it public. So like a simple talking head video can take 5 or 6 hours, and if that was something I had to set up a bunch of gear, then I'd you can't even do it in a day. It just gets too hard. The 17th thing I've learned is that video gear is expensive. I've learned that, which is also why I made the Patreon page, and I never wanted to accept tips and sell merch and all those things, but I've also realized that to improve and make better videos for you all, it does really help to also have your co-investment in the channel. So if you do decide to do that, I appreciate it. The 18th thing to know is that the only constant thing on YouTube is change. YouTube is changing all of the time, and so if you're going to get into this YouTube space, you should know that the stuff that worked 10 years ago doesn't work anymore. The stuff that worked 2 years ago doesn't work anymore either. So it's really important to keep up to date on all of the YouTube things that are going on. The 19th thing that I've learned is also just to focus on a couple platforms. My main platforms are YouTube and Facebook. So I've got 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. I've got about 20,000 likes on Facebook. I've got 2,000 almost on Instagram. I'm like 1,980 on Instagram. If you want to kick me over to 2,000, if you haven't been over there, you'll find my Instagram link in the description. You can get me over the 2 hump there. So this is like a general, 2 and a bunch of zeros celebration. But more than that, like TikTok, this and that, I can't do it. It's too many different things, and things that work on one platform don't work on another platform. Drinky Drink says, I absolutely love your embroidered yellow shirt. Shipping is expensive to Canada. I'm sorry, Drinky Drink, shipping is expensive sometime. Hopefully you can win one. If you win one on one of these live streams, I'll be happy to ship you an embroidered shirt instead of the Yellow Productions Crew shirt. Zachary says, Chris, I'm a speech, journalism, and English teacher. Do you mind if I use a small clip of your video on how you make your videos for my student, which goes into a vlog? I assume you're going to show that in the classroom or on Zoom or something like that? Like, go for it. Absolutely. The 20th thing that I've learned being on YouTube is not to compete with other YouTubers. YouTube is a big space. We can all tell stories in different ways, and I think it's important to learn from other YouTubers. Actually, I get inspiration from other YouTubers. This video that I'm doing today, actually, I was inspired by a channel called DSLR Video Shooter. Caleb, who runs that channel, did a video about what he's learned in his 10 years on YouTube. His was a lot more focused on running a business on YouTube because he's a full-time YouTuber. His was also 10-minute edited video. This one's a live stream, so everybody's got a little bit of a different perspective. And MP says we're too old for TikTok. Yeah, probably. And Gallivanting Gals asks, how do I file my B-roll? What's your organization system? So I use Sony Vegas to edit my videos, and in Sony Vegas, I basically tag things in different folders and scenic shots, and so they're organized into Like every one of my projects is organized in a different folder about where I was and what was the day, and I do have to edit up that open up that Vegas file to then find the scenic shots, which I kind of label in folders in there. That's just how I do it. Alberta wants to know how you win the giveaway. You will know that in about 2 minutes when I do the giveaway. The 21st thing I've learned is to not lie or misrepresent. There's so many people that talk about like promoting a product, but it's actually sponsored, or misrepresenting sponsorships. I never do that. So I don't believe in lying because I don't have that good of a memory, and if I lie, I have to remember my lies. And so everything you're going to find from Yellow Productions is honest, because it's so much less stressful for me that way, because I don't have to remember my lies. I've also learned that workplace drama exists in YouTube land. You know, a lot of people might think like, oh, it's great, I'm on YouTube and I work by myself, and you'd be surprised. There's a lot of like YouTuber on YouTuber drama. I had no idea that other YouTubers could hate each other so much, you know, but there are. And that one Slav asked if I'd ever want to do a podcast, also what inspired me to make my YouTube channel. For now, no to a podcast, only because it would just be too much time. I don't have that much time to do a live stream every week and an edited video and a podcast. What inspired me to make my YouTube channel, that's probably a question that you can find the answer to in my frequently asked questions video. If you search for Yellow Productions FAQ, I talk all about the origin story of Yellow Productions in there. And if you want to see the yellow car that the name comes from, then that was in my recent video about road trip tips. All right, the last one, number 23. I think this is probably the most important. One tip I would give people: don't feed the trolls. You know, if there are trolls are people who leave negative comments, people just crap all over your stuff. I don't respond to them. I don't feed them. They're miserable individuals that just get their kicks out of crapping on people's creative things. And so I generally don't delete most comments, but I do delete comments of trolls that just come to crap on everything.
Yes, it's the time you've been waiting for. It's time for the giveaway.
All right, it is time for the giveaway. So you answer this question, and I'll ship you a Yellow Productions shirt anywhere in the world. First person to answer this question gets the Yellow Productions crew shirt. And the question is, the video that I showed you earlier that I said this was the video of the first video that we put up on YouTube, not the first video we have on YouTube currently, but the first video we uploaded to YouTube, what is the city and country that that video was shot in? If you can answer that question, then you will win one of these fancy Yellow Productions crew shirts shipped to you anywhere in the world. And if you don't win one, well, you can pick one up from the Yellow Productions Etsy shop. You will find the link in the description below. And by the way, this stream, I'm also trying to do the Facebook, but you have to be on YouTube to win this because I'm only pulling up comments from YouTube in my feed here. And so we've got a few people, like Windy City Elevator says Norway, it was a country. Jean says Sweden, which is also the country. Kathy said Sweden, but I was looking for the country and the city. And so the first person to give the country and the Swiss city is Scottman 895 Travel, Stockholm, Sweden.
And now we have a winner chicken dinner.
All right. Well, Scottman885 Travel, I think you know how to get a hold of me. Let me know what size you want, where you want to go, and I will get that right out to you. Well, it has come to the end of our hour. Please join me on Thursday evening for my 200,000 subscriber celebration. As usual, I won't say goodbye because I'll see you all in the next video. And for all of you that were here, and for those of you that have been here a long time, Scottman885 Travel has been joining me for a lot of this 12-year journey. For you, Scott, and for everybody else who's been with me for a long time, or even those of you who've been with me for a short time or subscribed today, I thank you very much.